Dobar dan poštovani gledaoci i dobrodošli u još jednu emisiju Povodi na kanalu Radio televizije Mir. Kao što vidite, danas smo na jednom specijalnom mestu, nalazimo se u vinogradima porodice Radosavljević, a također imamo priliku i da ugostimo specijalnog gosta. Veliko mi je zadovoljstvo što u današnjoj emisiji imam priliku da ugostim njegovu ekscelenciju, ambasadora Nemačke za Kosovo, gospodina Jorna Roda. Hello and welcome.
Hello, Petra. Nice to be here. I have to say I've never been interviewed in such a relaxing environment.
Then it's a pleasure that I have the opportunity to do this interview. We can start with many topics, but let's discuss the political situation in Kosovo. The elections are over, but yet the main institutions are not formed.
That's true. And I met yesterday the president of Kosovo, Vjosa Osmani, and I also explained my concern and also disappointment that institutions have not been formed yet, 2 months after the elections. And I again underlined the urgency to form the institutions. All stakeholders need to work together. You know, to put it in one sentence, country first, party politics second.
What are your expectations? Are maybe new elections ahead?
You know, the population has done its homework. They have voted. And now the representatives owe it to their constituents to do their homework, which means, you know, to elect a Speaker of the Parliament, to form a government. And new elections don't always solve problems. As you could see, I think in Bulgaria you had 7 elections in 2 years. In the end, not much changed, and finally the parties got together. In Israel you had the same. So I urge all stakeholders to work together in a pragmatic way and that everybody does its homework.
We have a lot of Serbian representatives in the assembly. How important is that for democratic processes?
Look, Petra, Kosovo is founded as a multi-ethnic and multi-religious state. And Germany supports Kosovo always on that basis. And I would underline, especially I think representatives of non-majority communities, especially owe it to their constituents to work for them, to represent them, and not to engage in boycotts, as for example the Serbian list did it for the last 2 years. You know, we saw the disastrous results. No Kosovo Serbian mayors in the northern party, in the northern municipalities. So you have to play the game. You cannot, if you stay out, it's your fault. So again, I urge everybody to participate in the institutions of the state, and then only then you can bring tangible results for your constituents.
Serbian list won the majority of votes by the Serbian community. Other representatives claim that some undemocratic methods, such as voter intimidation, were used. How do you comment that, and how do you see that situation?
Look, I mean, we don't have to beat around the bush. Everybody knows that, especially from Belgrade, there's only one party who is seen from their view as the representative of Kosovo Serbs. That's a Serbian list. I can only quote what the head of the European Election Observers Mission, Ms. Loazos, said. She mentioned foreign interference from Serbia in the Kosovo elections, and that's not good. And it should not happen, because there should be, as on the Kosovo-Albanian part, as on the other minorities, there should be the free expression of will and not the pick and choose policy as we have now. So there is a clear bias there, and that should stop.
For the last 2 years, Serbs from North Kosovo have been under repression by the government in Pristina. How do you see that situation? Do you see that way, or you have another opinion?
Look, I would not agree to your assessment using the word repression. We have challenges, that's for sure. Repression happens in Ukraine. Repression might happen on the West Bank, but it's a very harsh word. For me, repression really means fully undemocratic, violence. What we have in Kosovo are challenges, that the government is not reaching out enough. We as internationals have criticized measures by the Kosovo government, not engaging in dialogue, but it's not repression. We have also seen positive things. I mean, it was not Kosovo when Kosovo Serbian judges, prosecutors, policemen withdraw from the institutions, mayors. It was the Kosovo Serbs representatives who did it. So it's not their fault. It's the fault, and they have to return. So in the last 2 years, I think about 200 new Kosovo Serb policemen applied, also young people from the north. You have now the possibility of registration of documents which were issued by parallel structures. So there are developments. But what I would appeal to all stakeholders, engage in pragmatic, constructive and cooperative behavior and not always accuse each other. So repression is the wrong word. There are challenges and we need to overcome them.
Biggest fear for Serbs is not being able to access the education and healthcare. Is there a way to prevent that?
I don't see that this is happening. I don't see, and we have made it clear that education and health, which is, by the way, also foreseen in the formation of the ASMM, the Association of Serbian Majority Communities, that these competences are basically autonomous. So I don't see that this will be touched.
When you mentioned the association, do you have a positive opinion about that?
Of course. I mean, the ASMM is a Kosovo legal obligation since 2013 and 15. It hasn't been implemented, but a lot of other things haven't been implemented. But now it's also part of the Brussels and Ohrid agreements. The Ohrid agreement is built around the ASMM. That's the homework for Kosovo. Serbia has to do other things, like not to block Kosovo's membership in international organizations anymore. The ASMM is also part of the package of Kosovo's membership for the Council of Europe. So each side knows very clear what it has to do. It just has to show the political will to do it. So yes, for Germany, the formation of the ASM remains the main thing. Also on all the other things which are hanging in the air, deblocking the way to Europe, for both countries, for Serbia and Kosovo.
We know that in the Serbian majority areas, Albanian mayors took office. Do you have a communication with them, and how do you see that situation on the ground?
No, I have never met them, because the election again was a result of boycott and withdrawal of Serbian representatives, and the situation is entirely a result of their boycott. I have not met these mayors because they were voted in with 2% of the vote. They are clearly not representative. But I clearly hope that in the upcoming elections, and I've seen statements by Serbian representatives, also SL, that they will participate, that we will soon have a situation again which would be normal. And normal would be that majority in a municipality is represented by the majority. But for that, you have to be part of the game.
Yeah, local elections were my next question. Do you think they will normalize lives of Serbian majority areas?
Again, when they participate, yeah, because then you have truly representatives of the people who present the majority view. And then again, what you need is pragmatic approach. You need to find solutions, whether it's here in Leposavic, whether it's in Stirpce or Grašanica. There are so many issues, from water, from waste management, from infrastructure.
Our citizen Branko Rakic was arrested recently. Do you follow these police actions, and what's your opinion about that?
You know, I can't comment on individual cases. I can only say ULEX is monitoring developments and we are regularly informed about it.
But when we talk generally, does maybe international community has a mechanism to at least oversee these kind of processes, judicial processes?
Yes, I mentioned ULEX. They monitor. I mean, Kosovo is a democracy, and it's up to the judicial mechanisms to follow cases. And I mean, you have seen statements where when we see that there seems to be the procedures that they are not fully followed, we will raise our voice. But otherwise, let the rule of law run its course.
A new mediator for the Belgrade-Pristina dialogue was named. So do you think maybe the conversation now will intensify?
I mean, it has already intensified. I see more frequent meetings. But again, as I said before, the internationals and Mr. Sørensen can be a mediator, but he can bring, so to speak, the horses to the fountain, but to drink, you know, it has to be done by the stakeholders, which means Kosovo and Serbia. My appeal would be also here to Kosovo Serbs, make yourselves be heard more. Let not others speak for you, because it's your future which is at stake. So Kosovo Serbs have to speak up and not let, you know, whether it's Belgrade or Pristina only to speak, because it's your future, and that's very important. And I'm sure the new EU representative, I mean, he has already met with representatives of the Kosovo Serb community, will continue to engage with you. But again, it depends also on Kosovo Serb side to really make a point. But also to show that they are part of Kosovo. Because you cannot be successful if you give the impression you don't want to be part of this country. The future, Kosovo is a sovereign country with a lot of minorities, and the Kosovo Serbs are one of them, and they have to accept that this is going to stay.
How much is German government present in Kosovo through various projects?
I mean, Germany is, I think, the biggest donor together with the EU, or when you take our part of the EU money, we are the biggest source of foreign remittances. We are the biggest trading partner. So we have a big footprint. I mean, 600,000 people of Kosovar descent live in Germany. You know, there is continued migration, and we have also projects in the north of Kosovo, together also with the EU, whether it's on waste management. But I want to especially mention, because it was mentioned before the election, you know, the German Development Agency, GIZ, is executing projects for the Ministry of Community and Returns, Mr. Rasic Ministry, to support non-majority community members, especially from the business community, to give support to establish companies. And, you know, this is a concrete example where we try to support economic development.
There's a perception supported by many media surveys that Serbs from Kosovo have lost their trust in international community. Do you see it that way, and is there a way to restore that trust?
Look, I also look at these polls. They are very, sometimes, I mean, you see these generic headlines. When you look closer, I've never seen a poll which says we have lost trust in KFOR. KFOR is all around here, especially in Leposavic, you know, Camp Nothing Hill. And, you know, KFOR has trust, and I don't see that there's less trust. Again, I have to repeat it, you know, it depends on the main stakeholders, Kosovo, Serbia, to find compromises. Internationals can only be mediators, so they are not the saviors to bring a result. There has to be the will and the, let's say, the insight that only normalization will bring long-lasting results and peace.
Finally, I have to ask, where do you see this Western Balkan region in a few years? What future do you foresee?
On such a nice day, I can only be optimistic. I see them in the EU as soon as possible. You know, the Western Balkan region is demographically in a difficult situation. People are voting with their feet. People are moving to Western Europe or from North Kosovo to Serbia, or Western Europe from Serbia to Western Europe, from Kosovo to Western Europe, from Bosnia. Each year this region is losing people. And if Europe doesn't come to the Western Balkan people will go to Europe. And we have to make the best out of it and to get these countries as soon as possible into the EU. But again, that demands that we do our homework, Europe, but that also the Western Balkan countries do their homework and show Europe that they are capable of having good neighborly relations, and especially between Kosovo and Serbia, to have long-lasting normalization.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Peter.
Poštovani gledaoci, bila je ovo još jedna emisija Povodi na kanalu Radio Televizije Mir. Sa nama je bio ambasador Nemačke, gospodin Jorn. Ostanite i dalje uz nas. Svako dobro.